Podium, podium, check, podium, podium. Podium. Mic 5. Oh, good, good. 5, 5.
John tested it, yes.
Huh? Oh, then it's fine. Well, that's it. It's been so dried out because everything I took. That feels good, doesn't it? I go home, make 2 pumpkin pies. I made my relish.
You want to stay all night with us, folks? Come on, you got steroids on you.
Anything change in the service that I can know about would be good? You might swap it out.
You're in charge tonight. We're just discussing.
I know, nothing.
Yes, you
I
know.
think we'll do it fine.
Okay.
No,
All
we
good?
just took this piece out, put it on the back, and get one of them.
There you go.
Except that you were Jack. No, I have no Jack. We have to look for Jack Peterson. Where's he?
Is Jack running? Who am I looking to? Are you who's starting off? Jack is?
Jack.
I mean, I know we're nowhere close. I just want to know who's giving me the cue. All right, we're early. I mean, it's early.
Yeah. You want a chair on this side? Yeah. Yeah. That'll be nice. No, she's going to put the chair. Look at this.
Sorry?
No, Jack is going to do the introduction and come up and go down.
Okay, great.
Is Jack in the chair?
I don't think so. We'll just have him come up and do the introduction and then he can sit. I haven't seen him yet. Let me go find him.
You must be cool. Mama Jean, it's lovely to meet you. So glad you're here
Thank you
tonight.
so much.
It is exciting. Is this your first?
Yeah, it's our first time.
No, I could be here 2 years.
I'm here for a while, too.
Good, good, good.
Kelly may be here longer than that. Hello. I'm good.
That's awesome.
No, Jack Peterson. He's on first. He's doing intro.
It's really nice to
So if you see him, he can come up here. He can just sit there and come up and welcome people and go back and see him.
Well, John and I are planning a concert in May.
Oh, great.
So that's surely one other year.
Why am I blanking on the radiation oncologist up there?
Who's going to Ted?
Who's going to find
Thank you.
him?
For a lot of people, too. I should know that.
It's wonderful.
Ted
Lawrence.
Lawrence. Linda, is here, drop the receipt.
Oh, thank you so much. It's fantastic. How you doing? Super excited.
It could have been a good swimmer. It'll be okay. It's a little scattered, but I've been doing that lately. I don't know.
Is everything all right?
With me?
something we've been doing. So the what? It's at the back page. Oh. Yeah. I'm going to tell them to be generous because we need it. we had a cut. I said, no, I'm comfortable. And I got
They already moved one.
They'll make it.
They moved one already.
Oh, good.
I think we're ready to get started. I'm Jack Peterson, president of your Genesis Board. It is my pleasure to welcome you here tonight. I need to take care of a couple of business items first. First of all, I need to see a show of hands. How many people are here tonight because of the Tuesday night scheduling who would not be able to have made this service tomorrow night because of travel and other commitments? Thank you. Second, I would like to point out some safety and security measures. If any of you are traveling tomorrow, particularly by air, you might be familiar with the two-finger point, which I'm about to employ. So, first, in the event of an emergency, fire extinguishers are located in the back of the sanctuary on the two walls. There are two others in the alcoves on either side of me. We have first aid kits, stop the bleed kits, and an additional fire extinguisher in the sacristy, which is the room behind me through that door. The emergency exits are well marked. Obviously, choose the exit closest to you, away from the emergency at hand. There is a defibrillator in the hallway on the other side of the gathering area over here. So, oh, and in the sacristy as well. If anybody didn't hear, Rabbi Winston just asked me where the oxygen masks are. should they drop from the ceiling, be afraid. Because God has something else in mind for us tonight. That out of the way, it's great to see. Oh. Does anyone need a bulletin? Judy asked. So with those items out of the way, it is truly my pleasure to welcome you. It's great to see all of you here. 2 nights ago, I attended an event sponsored by the Washtenaw County Interfaith Council. It was a gathering of leaders from various faiths around the area, and it was quite a moving experience. They were celebrating their 25th anniversary, and I was biting my tongue all evening to keep from saying, "We got 20 years on you." Over 45 years of the Genesis relationship, which we should celebrate. I know all of you have heard this before, but I'm going to recite the Genesis vision statement because I think it behooves us to always keep this in mind. By daily embracing mutual trust and respect, we partner with God and one another to heal a broken world. I think these words are even more relevant today than ever. Further, the mission of Genesis of Ann Arbor is to exemplify interfaith understanding, cooperation, and friendship, and through its board, to steward its shared space in ways that strengthen St. Clair's Episcopal Church and Temple Beth Emeth and the broader community. This week, most of us have a lot of personal commitments, responsibilities. It tends to be a very busy week. It is a week that unfortunately has evolved or devolved into unbridled commercialism. We live in a tumultuous political environment and a troubled world. We give thanks for our friendships in this room and for the presence of God here tonight. Let us take time out tonight to enjoy each other's company, for celebration, to sing, pray, and worship together, for spiritual reflection and fulfillment. Thank you.
Continuing on the bottom of page 4. Blessed be the source, at the bottom of page 3. Blessed be the source of creation, for those who bless you shall themselves be blessed. Tonight we join together in recognition.
For the
Blessings which you lavish upon us in forest and sea, in mountain and meadow, in rain and sun. For the blessings you implant within us, joy and peace, meditation and laughter. For the blessings of friendship and love, of family and community, for the blessings which we ask of you and those which we do not ask of you, for the blessings which we recognize and those which we fail to recognize, for the blessings of our unique traditions and of our sacred days, for the blessings of compassion and forgiveness, memory and hope. For these and the many blessings which sustain us each day, hear our prayers, O God, and grant us peace, friendship, and fellowship throughout our lands and all lands. May it flow from our common place of worship, learning, and service to others, like the love that makes us your people. Amen. Please be seated.
So in our tradition, we bring the Torah around to the congregation before reading, and normally we would then open the Torah and begin to read out of the Torah scroll. There were two challenges with that tonight. One of them is that I'm reading from Deuteronomy and it's rolled to Genesis. If you know what that means, we're talking about 15 minutes of rolling back. And the other one is that in this setting, we would not necessarily say the Torah blessing over our reading, and we would not read from the Torah scroll under those circumstances either. But this reading is so beautiful and apropos for this evening's moment, so I would like to chant it anyway, first in the Hebrew and then I'll read it in English. Ki Adonai Elohecha mevi'acha el eretz tova, eretz nachalei mayim, ayanot utohomot, yotzim bevbik'a uvahar. ארץ חיטה ושעורה, וגפן ותאנה ורימון, ארץ זית שמן ודבש. ארץ אשר לא במסכנות תאכל בה לחם, לא תחסר כל בה. ארץ אשר אבניה ברזל, ומהרריה תחצוב נחושת. ואכלת ושבעת, וברכת את אדוני אלוהיך על הארץ הטובה אשר נתן לך. For the eternal your God is bringing you into a good land, a land with streams and springs and fountains issuing from plain and hill and cell phones ringing, a land of wheat and barley, of vines, figs, and pomegranates, a land of olive trees and honey, a land where you may eat without stint, where you will lack nothing, a land whose rocks are iron and from whose hills you can mine copper. When you have eaten your fill, give thanks to the eternal your God for the good land given to you.
For those of you who are at the food pantry, the backyard food pantry volunteer, thanks the other week, 2 weeks ago, I think, 2-3 weeks ago, and I gave an opening prayer. It was to this piece of Torah that I was referencing, that the idea of saying a blessing before we eat, that's been added on to Jewish tradition. What comes directly from the Torah is this idea of saying a blessing after you're full, after you have something in your belly. It's a lot harder to remember when you're full to give thanks. It's a lot easier when you're really hungry.
Yes. We do this together.
Oh, yes. Do you want people to rise?
You, me.
But do you want people to rise? It's up to
Oh,
you.
please stand as you're able. You start there.
The prophet Amos exhorts us.
Seek good and not evil, that you may live. Then the Lord God Almighty will be with you, just as you say God is.
When people are content and satisfied with their own plenty, harsh or indifferent to the poor and the struggling, and their neighbors and even their adversaries, the holy is appalled and grieved. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel witnesses,
There is immense presence happening in the world, and the task of humanity is to be a voice for the plundered poor,
to prevent the desecration of the soul and the violation of our dream of honesty.
Heschel challenges us.
There is no limit to the concern one must feel for the suffering of human beings. And indifference to evil is worse than evil itself.
In a free society,
Some are guilty, but all are responsible.
let us remember together. You call us, God, to be stewards, caring for all creation with balance and justice. You bestowed on us the ability to repent of the excesses that are wrought by excessive consumption, the result of our ambitions, greed, and fear. Yet we resist, O God of power and compassion. Shatter our resistance and guide us to a sustainable lifestyle. Make us wise leaders, empowered to be peaceful stewards to your glory. Please be seated.
This is the sound of one voice, one spirit, one voice, the sound of one who makes a choice.
This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of voices too. The sound of me singing with you, helping each other to make it through. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices three, singing together in harmony, surrendering to the mystery. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of voices three.
A reading from the Christian Testament. Every generous act of giving with every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shadow due to change. In fulfillment of God's own purpose, God gave us birth by the word of truth, so that we would become a kind of first fruits of his creatures. You must understand this, my beloved. Let everyone be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger, for your anger does not produce God's righteousness. Therefore, rid yourself of all sordidness and rank growth of wickedness, and welcome with meekness the implanted word that has the power to save your souls. But be doers of the word and not merely hearers who deceive themselves. For if anyone are hearers of the word and not doers, they are like those who look at themselves in a mirror. For they look at themselves and, upon going away, immediately forget what they were like. But those who look into the perfect law, the law of liberty and perseverance, being not hearers who forget, but doers who act, they will be blessed in their doing. If in anything they are religious and do not bridge their tongues but deceive their hearts, their religion is worthless. Religion that is pure and undefiled before God the Father is this: to care for the orphans and widows in their distress, and to keep oneself unstained by the world.
As we begin to focus on our own thankfulness as the day approaches, let us acknowledge that the land we sit upon, the sanctuary where we lift our voices to God, where we engage in fellowship with each other as distinct congregations, and also at moments like this, let us acknowledge the indigenous people whose land we occupy, the Ottawa, the Ojibwe, the Potawatomi, and other peoples. We acknowledge that our possession of this land came at the expense of others. And whatever treaties or agreements that led to the establishment of Ann Arbor and the Huron Valley were made under duress, these are not things that we can change, but facts of history we must not ignore. I have never started a worship service, a meeting, or any other affair with the words I just spoke. I've only ever pronounced the names Ottawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi 3 times, now 4. And for those here tonight who are members of my congregation, you may be hearing those names more. For some time now, I've been contemplating beginning each of our worship services with mentioning those names. Not as a way of absolving us of the crimes committed in the not too distant past, or even as an attempt to rectify, but because I don't know how we move forward toward an America more closely aligned with its vision if we continue to ignore the bedrock of our establishments: land theft, slavery, and yes, a yearning to be free and out from under the thumb of monarchy. Last August, I traveled to Alabama with my rabbinic conference. We were there on a pilgrimage on the trail of civil rights. In Montgomery, we stayed at a Marriott hotel, a large, modern, gorgeous hotel. Chandeliers hanging in the foyer, extra-large king-size beds, perfectly packaged soaps and shampoo. You all know the hotel. It was 3 blocks from the Alabama River, 3 blocks from the docks where free men and women became slaves as they marched to the holding pens and auction block. The building that served as the auction complex still stands in Montgomery. It now holds Bryan Stevenson's Equal Justice Initiative Museum, documenting the progression of slavery to Jim Crow to mass incarceration. That building stood across the street from my Marriott hotel in Montgomery, and I sat looking at it as I sipped cocktails at the bar with colleagues. But that enormous building isn't just the Equal Justice Initiative. It also houses businesses, a Jimmy John's, a Mexican restaurant, and I kid you not, an escape room. Sadly, I don't think any irony was intended there. I understand that people need to live in places where horrible things have happened, that commerce must continue. But I'm not sure how we become a country more closely aligned with its vision when we sell sandwiches where we once sold people. With the rise in xenophobia the past few years, the need to address the original sins of American history are clarified. Now is the time to do this. Now is the time to move forward, rectifying the wrongs of the past. I want to share with you a story. It's a story about heaven and hell. As the story goes, a man is sitting in a bar with God having a drink. It's a good intro to a story, right? And the man turns to God and says, listen, God, I've always wondered about the afterlife, we all do. It's what's going to happen? And God says, well, you want to see? They were a few drinks in, so the man said, yes, I'd like to see. And God says, well, heaven or hell, which one first? The man says, I don't know, you choose, God. So God takes the man, they stand up from the bar, they walk to the back of the bar where there are two doors, and God opens one of them, and inside that door, this man sees a gorgeous banquet table, probably a table similar to the tables we'll be sitting at in just a few days. Any kind of food you can imagine, it's there. And the people that are sitting around the table, the man notices that they are gaunt, that they don't look so healthy. And he doesn't understand because there's all of this food right in front of them. And then he notices that the people that are sitting around the table, that their arms are locked out like this. They don't have elbows that move. And that their fingers are cupped like spoons. And that they can reach all of the food, but they can't figure out how to get it to their mouths. And God looks at the man and says, this is hell. And says, okay, I've had enough. Let's get out of here. They close the door and head right next door and open that door. And inside, the man looks in and sees a gorgeous table filled with any kind of food you can imagine. A table that will probably look very similar to the ones that we'll be sitting at in just a few days. But the people here, they look healthy. They look good. They're laughing. They're talking. They're having a good time. And the man notices again that here too the people have their arms locked and that their fingers are not fingers but a spoon. And that they too can reach the food, but when they reach for the food, they feed the person next to them. And they feed the person across from them. And God says, this is heaven. In the Jewish tradition, we talk about two concepts, the Yetzer Hara and the Yetzer Hatov, the good inclination and the evil inclination. These two inclinations reside in each of us, inside every human being. It is our nature to do evil and to do good. As a part of our evil nature, we have the desire to take. We want things that do not belong to us. In American history, among other things, we wanted land and bodies. And that desire to take comes from our fears of scarcity. If they have what I want, there may not be enough for me, so I better take what they have. Our desire to take comes straight from our fears. Our desire is to take and only take, and that's hell. But we are more than takers. We are also givers. And when we give, we come from a place of abundance. There is enough to go around. Yes, I can have what I need, and so can the person sitting next to me or across from me. I can have what I need, and the person who does not look like me or talk like me or think like me can also have enough to fill their need. This is hope. This is heaven. On this Thanksgiving and every day, we have a choice before us. We can live from our fear or from our hope. We can live from our sense of scarcity or sense of abundance. How we live is our choice. Our country has not yet reached its ultimate greatness. The vision and ideals that steer our ship have us on a course, but do not assure our arrival. Our North Star must be abundance, and it is reflected in the best of who we are: the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the poem, The Great Colossus. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land. Here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. We have all been homeless, and our own country has created some of that homelessness. But the best of who we are is in the plea, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. There is a reason we call this holiday Thanksgiving and not Thanksgiving. Yes, be grateful this Thanksgiving, but more than that, let us remember to be giving. This is who we have been, and this is who we can be. Happy Thanksgiving.
This feast comes but once a year. Our abundance feels mythic, though this moment a weak response to your deepest abundance. Your worlds are the truest magnificence, and your presence so close touches our hearts at every moment. May our hearts in gratitude move our hands in thanksgiving to strengthen and protect our small piece of your creation. This evening we will be doing a collection during the anthem, and the money that we will collect will go to the backdoor food pantry. Talk about scarcity. We lost part of the grant that we were using, so we must dig deep to be able to make up the difference. If for some reason you forgot your checkbook or didn't bring money, know that you can turn it in to the church offices or the temple office. We'll be happy to receive it later. Just mark on it that it's for Thanksgiving collection, because we really do need this money. I think we have over 100 a week. Is that about right? That come for food? 120? Last week, 151. 160? 161. And it's easier if they can have money to buy the food, not that they won't accept food if you bring it in, because they can make that money work when they buy in bulk. So they can get more if they have cash. So just remember that this is what it's for, and thank you for your generosity.
Our choir anthem tonight was written by the first Native American female bishop in the Episcopal Church of the Cherokee Nation. And part of it is the refrain, Osio Sio, which is translated in many different ways. One of the ways is a celebration of hello or thank you or greetings. So you'll hear that refrain over and over again. And I wanted to read the verses very quickly so you understand what everybody's saying. They're in English, but it's still hard to hear. Welcome, cousins from the east, and bring your gifts. Rising sun and gentle waters, soaring eagle, new vision. Welcome, cousins from the south, and bring your gifts. Our rich Mother Earth, innocence and love. Welcome, cousins from the west, and bring your gifts. Thunder, drum, and wind, oceans and strong hearts. Welcome, cousins from the north, and bring your gifts. Mighty buffalo and wisdom, rivers of harmony. Welcome, dear friends. Our circle is complete. We thank you for this circle and for the home you made for all.
patiently.
Let us give thanks to God for all the gifts so freely bestowed upon us. For the beauty and wonder of your creation in earth and sky and sea. For all that is gracious and true in human lives. For our daily food and drink, our homes and families and our friends. For minds to think and hearts to love and hands to serve. For health and strength to work and leisure to rest and play. For the brave and the courageous who are patient in suffering and faithful in adversity. For all valiant seekers after truth, liberty, and justice. For our two congregations and for the Genesis covenant. For discernment to see our way forward. For your love and mercy, great mercy, toward each of us and for all of us together. Hallelujah. We sing your praise, O God. Bless us and keep us in your tender, gracious love this night and always for our two congregations and for the Genesis covenant. Hallelujah.
Remove the centerpiece blocking my view. We feast on friendship along with the meal. We gather around plentiful smiles and smells. We acknowledge our blessings. Our fortune lies before us. First hunger and then sated, we acknowledge our obligation. The people of the world, the earth itself, and God's goodness, an opportunity to serve creation. We will linger at a table resplendent with love. May our hearts be fuller than our stomachs. This moment is blessed. May our lives radiate the goodness we see before us.
Thank you, everybody, for being here with us. I am also happy to see that the St. Clarions like the wooden chairs just as much as the Temple Beth Emeth folks, so we should take note of that. I hope all of you join us in the social hall for an oneg. Oneg, it's bringing joy to this, further joy to this celebration in our social hall immediately following when I stop talking. Happy.